know what I love? You know what I love? Episode 105 of the Be Great podcast. Do you know what I love? I love watching Carson Beck, that fraud, that Sid the Sloth wannabe. I love seeing him fail. It brings me such joy. And honestly, it probably wouldn't have brought me as much joy as it did. But luckily, I had ESPN help me out. Because you see, what ESPN did is they decided to do all these little sob stories about Carson Beck. Oh my gosh. Can you believe? Oh my gosh. Georgia fans, they were so mean to him. Oh my gosh. So what? He threw 4 interceptions in a game. So what? He constantly put the ball in harm's way. They were so mean to him. And I love the revisionist history. I love that we want to sit here and pretend like he is some victim. Are you kidding me? You know who the victim is? My eyeballs last year watching him turn the ball over time after time after time after time because he thought he was the main character. That's who the victim is, my eyeballs. And furthermore, why are we pretending like Georgia fans were the only people who were criticizing him? ESPN was criticizing him. Everyone was. He was playing like trash. Like, that's just what it is. And yes, he made the national championship with Miami. Congratulations. You scored 10 points to beat Texas A&M. You beat a flawed Ole Miss team. Okay, a good Ole Miss team, I'll admit it. They beat Georgia, but a flawed one who didn't have their head coach. And you beat Ohio State because Ohio State did that thing that Ohio State likes to do, or should I say that Ryan Day likes to do, and that is try and be something that they are not. You won, and you got as far as you did because of your defense, not your offense. So let's stop the pretending, okay? And what happened? Carson Beck with the ball in his hand to win a game. And can you believe it? Can anyone guess what happened? I literally called it live while it was happening. I said, watch, Carson, game-ending pick. It's going to happen right here. Because that's who he is. That's what he does. He tries to play hero ball. He tries to do too much. He thinks he is something that he is not. And it's what he does every single time when it matters most. And he did it again in the national championship game and crushed the hearts of Miami fans. And I loved every second of it. I loved every second of it. I'm sick and tired of Michael Irvin on the sidelines like he's a player or like he's a coach. Bro, those days are behind you. Can we grow up? I mean, how old are you? Can we grow up? You're over here acting like a fool on the sideline. He's literally walking up and down the sideline, talking to players, giving them pep talks. I'm like, is this guy a coach? Is he like getting paid for this? Like, what is going on? Because I can tell you, Quavo is not walking up and down the sidelines in the huddle. He's not giving play calls. I mean, I don't know what's going on. But I was sick and tired of Michael Irvin, so I was glad Miami lost. I was happy. I was laughing hysterically. And I like Fernando Mendoza. I like this Indiana story, so I was fine with them winning. They were the best team all year. They deserved it. So I was fine with that. And, you know, the Big Ten has won back-to-back national championships. No, Big Ten, you have not won 3 in a row because one of them you cheated. We do not give you those here. Us adults, we don't acknowledge national championships where you cheat, okay? Plain and simple. So you've won back-to-back. Be happy with that. That's all I'm going to talk about with the national championship, by the way. I really just wanted to sit here and laugh at Carson Beck for a few minutes, and so I just got that out of my system. I want to talk about a topic that has been super aggravating because this, I don't know how I want to put it. this opinion, I guess we can call it opinion, has been going around, I would say like wildfire, but I still think most people, logical people, know the truth. So I don't think it's the majority opinion. I think it's really just delusional Big Ten fans, if we're being honest, that the Big Ten is now somehow better than the SEC. Let's just analyze that. Because I've heard all the arguments. I have heard all the arguments, and none of them make sense. Let's get to the first argument. The Big Ten has won back-to-back national championships. Congratulations. You've had the best team for the past 2 years. But that's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about, is Indiana better than Alabama? We're not talking about, is Ohio State better than LSU? What we're talking about is the entire conference. That's what we are talking about here. When you ask who's the tougher conference, who's the better conference, that is everybody. That's not just Indiana and Ohio State. That's Purdue and Northwestern and Rutgers and Maryland and Minnesota and Michigan. Michigan State is who I meant. Michigan State, who's been irrelevant for years now. UCLA, who's terrible year after year. It's about all of them. Okay? Second argument, and this one drives me insane. The bowl game record. Where do these people get off looking at SEC fans dead in the face with a straight face saying, actually, we have a better bowl game record, so because we won the Pop-Tarts Bowl, and the Cheez-Its Bowl, and the Pampers Bowl, that means that we are the best conference. Have you lost your mind? Bowl games do not mean anything anymore. They are not what they used to be. This is not 2010. We're in 2026. Half these bowl games, honestly, not even half, all of these bowl games, half the players don't play. And some of these teams are playing without half their coaching staff. I was actually listening to Big Ten fans. Who was Illinois playing? I think wasn't Illinois playing Tennessee? Let me look that up real quick on who Illinois played in their bowl game. It was an SEC team. I think it was Tennessee. It was an SEC team though. Let's see. Goodness, you would think that this would not be this difficult to find, but it is indeed difficult to find. 2025. Let's see if this one will show me the bowl game. Yes, it was against Tennessee. So Illinois won by 2 points. And that by itself made Big Ten fans go, see, look, Illinois, they beat Tennessee. The Big Ten is better. Who's going to tell them that Tennessee literally played without one of their coordinators? They literally did not have their defensive coordinator, and you only won by 2 points? Okay. Interesting. It's really interesting. Oh, and also, by the way, Tennessee didn't have their best offensive player, who's probably going to be a day 2 pick in the NFL draft. His name's Chris Prezell, and you still only won by 2 points. But hey, who's counting, right? I mean, who's counting? Who's counting? Certainly not me. I mean, goodness. So please, stop with the bowl game nonsense. Stop with who won the national championship, okay? Because I'm sure those years that Clemson won the national championship, you weren't sitting there saying, oh, well, the ACC is clearly the best conference. I mean, give me a break. Give me a break. Because the reality is, when you go up and down the entire conference, the SEC is still so much better than the Big Ten. Has the gap closed? Probably a little. But the SEC is so much better. Look at the top of the Big Ten. You have Indiana, you have Ohio State, and you have Oregon. Those three are the only three consistent, high-level Big Ten teams year after year. Michigan's not consistent. They haven't made the playoff the past 2 years. USC, I would love to know when they're going to decide to show up and make a playoff with Lincoln Riley. Penn State, I mean, I don't know how many times I have to say it. Penn State's an absolute joke. And we saw them crash and burn last year, so they're not consistent. Who else? Is there literally anybody else? Washington, not consistent. I don't think there's anybody else. And you're lucky to have Indiana because they just showed up to the party. Okay, look at the SEC. Georgia, Alabama. And yeah, Alabama didn't make the playoff last year, but they were still a high-level team. Okay. Texas. LSU is about to be. And LSU usually is and is about to be. LSU does typically, they'll have 1 or 2 years where they're terrible and then they'll be back. So I think LSU is going to be back this year. Although I said that last year, to be fair. Am I missing it? I mean, Ole Miss recently has been very high level. Texas A&M recently has been high level. We'll see if that continues. And if you go to the bottom, I mean, bro, Kentucky, Mississippi State, and Arkansas are the 3 worst teams in the SEC. All 3 of them are beating Purdue by at least 2 touchdowns. I think 2 out of the 3 of them would beat Northwestern. I think 2 out of the 3 of them would beat Rutgers. I think all 3 of them could beat Minnesota. Maryland is consistently disappointing. I think 2 out of the 3 could beat Maryland. I mean, it's a joke. Why do you think everyone was saying Ohio State had such an easy schedule? Because the Big Ten Conference sucks. And so if you're a Ohio State, an Indiana, an Oregon, and your schedule does not consist of each other, your schedule is going to look terrible unless you have good out-of-conference opponents. Like, that's just what it is. And by the way, Ohio State had a terrible schedule last year, and even though they played Texas, and they still had a terrible schedule. What does that tell you? That's how bad the Big Ten Conference as a whole, let me clarify, as a whole is. And no one on the SEC ever said that you're never going to win a national championship. Everyone in the SEC, at least the logical ones, should agree that Ohio State year in and year out is good enough to win a national championship. All right? And Indiana might be about to be that way too. I don't know. We'll see what happens next year. Oregon, I can't say that, though, because they haven't done it. So. And Michigan, give me a break. Give me a break. But I just don't understand why Big Ten fans want to live in this delusion that they're all of a sudden better than the SEC. Give me a break. Are you on, like, how many drugs do you have to take to think that that's the reality? Honestly. But I'm excited for next year. A lot of SEC teams are going to be improving. I think Auburn's going to get better next year. Florida's going to be better next year, in my opinion. LSU's going to be better next year. How many Big Ten teams are going to be better next year? Maybe Penn State. Who else? Maybe Michigan. Maybe. If Kyle Whittingham works, which I have my doubts. I will say the best part about the college football season ending is that we get into the NFL draft season, which I love so much. I love it so much. I'm thinking next week we might have to do our first mock draft. That might be fun for next week. I do kind of want to go over the transfer portal, but I'm going to kind of wait because, some big names are still going to teams. I think Damon Wilson today committed to Miami. And we still got some other people that need to commit, So we're going to kind of wait on that. Maybe I'll do transfer portal next week, mock draft the week after. We'll just have to wait and see. Man, it was a great college football season. Had a lot of fun. Can't wait for next season. Maybe also next week with the transfer portal, maybe I should, a lot of people are doing this. They're little way too early college football top 25. Maybe I should do that. Although I'm not going to do a top 25. I will say I hate the whole top 25 thing. Who cares about whoever is like 15 to 25? Who cares? Who cares that Iowa's in there? Oh, man, I think USC is going to be the 17th team. I don't care. I will do a top 10. Way too early top 10. Yes, yes, yes. And you can imagine who will be at the top, Indiana will be up there. Georgia will be up there. Oregon will be up there. Ohio State will probably be up there. I'm not going to give any spoilers on who else will be up there. I was about to say a name that I can't say. But Oregon, saying that name, reminded me, Dante Moore coming back to Oregon. Look, I think it's a good move for him. I would run from the Jets like they're the Black Plague, personally. So I like that decision for him. Also, I think he needs another year. I'll be interested to see how Oregon is next year, because a lot of people are just assuming just because Dante Moore's coming back, Oregon's the team to beat. I've seen a lot of people say that they should be the national title favorites next year. I just don't think I agree. First off, they're losing some good players. They're losing Isaiah World. They're losing Emmanuel Pregnon. They're losing Dylan Thieneman. They're losing Amari Washington. They're losing some good players. And their transfer portal class has left a ton to be desired. I mean, their best transfer portal pickup so far has been Dylan Raiola, who's going to be their backup quarterback, who's coming off a major injury. It leaves a lot to be desired. So I'm not too high on Oregon as far as the Natty favorites. I know who I think the Natty favorites should be. I'll say this, Oregon will obviously be in my top 5. But they will not be 1, nor will they be 2. Maybe they'll be 3. We'll see. We'll see. That'll be next week. I'll have to think on it. I feel like I am going to make the same mistake this upcoming season that I made last season, but I just feel a certain type of way about this team once again and what they're doing, and I just can't help myself, but we'll get to that next week. You can probably imagine who that team is. If you've heard any of my episodes this past season, you should know who I'm talking about, because I spoke about this team a ton. And they, what's the word I should use? Failed me. Made me look like an idiot. They embarrassed me. But, it is what it is. I hope everyone has a great day. We got a little ice. No, it's not an ice storm. What's it called? Winter storm? Winter storm. What's his name? Fern, I think? Which is a lame name. I'm sorry, but if I'm not scared of something named Fern. All right? It should have been named like, I don't know, Barbara or something. I don't know. But I hope everyone has a great day. Stay safe out there. And yeah, just go out there and be great.